Hello everybody. Today we will be talking about the Ancestors card, and I will talk about it now since this is going to be the next scenario card, and I have to quickly give attention on something that has had pretty much like a heated comment section in my previous video, and that being skipping the Ancestors card and just borrowing it. Today I will be giving you pretty much my perspective on why you should not pull for this card and instead just borrow it. And of course, feel free to do whatever you want. This is just going to be a video just giving you my perspective because I know that I will not be able to pretty much convince everybody. Everybody has their own opinions. So yeah, before we start, pretty much I have not played the scenario itself, but I have seen the gameplay and I have seen pretty much decks that is used for champions meetings and League of Heroes for the duration of where the Ancestors card is very valuable in. The reason why I even made this video in this first place is simply because I have seen a comment that I found to be very interesting, but I felt disagreeing with some of the stuff said in here, so I decided to make a video. Please do not attack the person. I tried to hide their name. If you found this person and make fun of them, then I will straight up like put you on mute for the channel. So please do not go after anybody. Anyways, we will go over these points later on in the video, but I have to basically go over the card itself. The Ancestors card is pretty much going to be the card that you are going to be using in Grandmasters once this card comes out. This card does not come out for the first Champions meeting of Grandmasters for some whatever reason. However, it comes out on the second for the Grandmasters. Don't ask me why. The Champions meeting where this scenario will come out is going to be 103,200 meters. Which is going to be a very interesting CM, considering this is a group card, but it is what it is. Essentially, we have a lot to go over here. They have speed, stamina, and power bonus, 3 excellent stats, and they are all actually at their full value at Limit Break 1. At Limit Break Max Limit Break, essentially, you get the highest amount of friendship bonus and also 10% training effectiveness. The training effectiveness aspect is why a lot of people have debate, oh, it's only 10% training effectiveness. It's not going to equate to that much. Later on, I will talk about it more. And of course, the friendship bonus is a very important factor. And as for the unique effect, it gets 10% friendship bonus and 15% mood effect when the bond gauge is full, and 1 skill point bonus alongside of it. So overall, very fantastic, and you should try to max this bond gauge very fast because this card will give you a lot of power once they are able to get to their max bond. As for the skills, they provide a lot, and I mean a lot of skills. Ramp up, sprint corners, long straightaways, corner adept, mild corners, medium corners, straightaway adept. Umastand, you also still have productive plan, countermeasure, deep breath, divine speed, all I have got, 777 and high speed. High speed and divine speed are the exclusive skill for this card. Just know that this is a good skill and you will buy it every single time once you use this card. As for the events, it's very similar to Throne, where you have a very limited amount of dates. This is only about 5 dates. You have the Arabian, which gives you guaranteed straightaway adept and Umastan, which means that for the pace, late, and end closers, even front runners, you can put Umastan. For fronts, it's a early game skill that helps you beat the other front runners. As for the other strategies, it helps you break out of pace down mode. So, very good skill. Then we have Barley Torque. She gives you deep breath and all I have got, 2 decent skills. And then we have Godolphin Barb. Productive Plan is a very good skill. Countermeasure is not something that I wouldn't probably pick, but it has the effect where it will heal all negative status effects. So if you get Slacker, you get Practice Poor, you get I don't know, like migraines, then you can just heal it and will be extremely powerful. And then on the final date, you get this exclusive skill that is going to be divine speed, and then you of course are able to perform friendship training once you get pure passion, prodigies, and guides. So essentially, this is the exact same as Team Sirius and Throne card in terms of effect. You are able to friendship train, and of course that is very powerful. As for the other stuff that you can get, stuff like ramp up is very good. You can also get the option between going for corner adept, mild corners, or medium corners. You also have the option to go for sprint corners, long straightaways, triple sevens, and by the way, dating before the first year event is actually like very good. On the start of the second year event, if you are dating with the Ancestors card, essentially you get 3 hint levels for high speed, and that makes divine speed much cheaper, which of course is very very good. As for this portion, I don't really want to talk about the scenario mechanics itself. The reason is because scenario is actually quite complex, but just know that when you are training with the Ancestors card, you have pretty much fragments that you get from them. The top option gives you red, and then the middle option gives you blue, and the bottom option gives you yellow. Just know that these are going to be very important, and I think they might matter the same, if not more, than Light Hallow's 20 tokens when you are training with her. So yeah, that is something that you should really focus on. It's very powerful, and again, I don't really want to talk about the scenario mechanics itself right now because this is still like 3 months away. Oh boy. I hope this is okay to talk about. This is going to be the first time where I tackle something like this, but this is pretty much the debate. This comment says that Ancestors is not a borrow card, and just save more. There's nothing to pull for Grand Life right now. You should spend 200 and go for 1 limit break on the Grandmaster's card, and you will be much better. I don't agree with this, but again, I will talk about my points. People say it's only good at 3 limit break and 4 limit break for the 5% and 10%. That is correct, but the difference is so minuscule. I don't think the difference is so minuscule. Due to the specialty priority, you have an 18% chance of it appearing on any training. I think the chance is actually 18.2%. I think that is it. It's like 100 over 550. That is pretty much like the number that it generates. Most, if not all, the cards are 15 to 20% training effectiveness. Kitasan Black, Fan Motion, Creek, Measure Ramano, Nice Nature, etc. So on average, the training already has about 20% training effectiveness. Okay, that is a fair point. An additional 5 to 10% training effectiveness is about 4 to 8% output per tap. Where if you trained with Ancestors because the training effectiveness is additive, it suffers from diminishing returns. That could be correct, but this part over here is like, how did we go from this to 1.8 to 1.6 final stat output from trainings? I think this is not correct. The events, I don't really count events because like it's so minuscule at like between difference between all like PAL cards, so I just don't really talk about it that often. Because of its random after training effect, I'll be generous and give it 2 to 3% final output increase. I don't agree with this. This is the part why I actually made the video. But for what cost? You can borrow luxury borrows, Major McQueen stamina, Gold City Guts, Daiichi Ruby power, Jungle Pocket speed for backliners that could not pull her. I will go back into this portion specifically. Bourbon Wit for non-Bourbon mains for League of Heroes, and simply the best stat stick you currently don't have on your deck. Bourbon Wit and League of Heroes, that is a fair point. But are you saying frontrunner LARPers So somebody that is not playing front runner has their main strategy, use front runners. Just a question. Just a question. Do you like you have to pull for front runner characters? You know that? Like you have to pull for Valentine Agnes Fusion. You also have to have Valentine Mihono Bourbon, Kita-san Black New Year version in the first League of Heroes. So you're pulling on 3 characters just to play League of Heroes competitively. If you are not maining front runners, I don't think you should try to go for the top 96 for League of Heroes. Just give up. Don't go for that. That's so expensive. Even for I that plays front runner main, will probably not push for the top 96 top positions. Most of the reward is at Platinum 4, and like you can reach Platinum 4 with most of these strategies. I would not recommend you to pull on front runner characters solely for the reason of League of Heroes if you are a free-to-play player. But that is just me. So that is the point. Like, if you have the characters, Bourbon Whip part makes sense, but I don't agree with the other cards. Okay, moving on. For 200 pulls, you are free to borrow whatever you want for skills or for stats, which is a better position to be in than using suboptimal cards because you borrow ancestors. I will go about that later. There's also parent farming too. I guess this is a fair point. He's talking about Nice Nature Power. This is a very good power card, but I tried auto on Grandmasters. I can definitely say you don't need to parent farm on Grandmasters. I know there is the blessing skills. Just wait a bit. There will be people that will farm it. You just borrow from them after we are done with Grandmasters. Trust me when I say this. You don't need to pull on ancestors so that you can use auto with Grandmaster's card just so that you can borrow Nice Nature Power. I think for the most part you don't really need the blessing skills just day one because they will be available in the Grandmaster scenario. And after 4 months there will be parents that just have these blessing skills. So you don't really need to use like the Ancestors card in Grandmaster parenting with auto so that you just get the blessing skills. I don't really agree with this take also, but let's move on. Like the opportunity cost for a flexible borrow slot for stats or for skills significantly outweighs the Ancestors 2 to 3% final stat output, that I genuinely do not think it's worth it to use Ancestors as a borrow card. Okay, this is a point. This is his point. I'm going to evaluate my point and give it my perspective. Do not roll luxury cards like Key S Miracle, Chris S, the H-Rupee Power, and so on and so forth. They are all horrendous cards training wise and should only be considered as borrows even if they are near full power at 1 limit break. This is the most questionable part because for me what I'm reading is that essentially he is going to pull on 1 limit break Ancestors card and he's going to borrow a maximum break of a card that has a horrendous training value. So like this part is like I think contradicting a bit of what he's saying above. You if you know what I mean, because 10% training effectiveness is more than a card that has horrible training values, which is not the case by the way, because if Kia's Miracle Guts just goes on a speed training, you're getting a lot more power than you think. So that is something that I don't really agree with too. So let's dissect it in my the training effectiveness portion, but essentially I put it on a website called uma.guide. This is a very good website. It lets you put other cards and see the values. I use it a lot with other cards, and I essentially found out which cards have very good effects with other cards, which cards seem good on paper but actually give you lower output. This is Hiyore Finale Numbers, level 5 training facility on speed. Grandmasters give you more stats compared to URA Finale, but that setting is not here, so we're just using URA Finale. This is maximum break thrown, and this is one limit break thrown. If we go over here, we have 35 as opposed to 32. If we divide it by each other, that is about an increase of relatively about like a 7 to 8% chance. So yeah, that is like somewhat noticeable, but not that big. For the power, it's essentially 2 power, which is essentially is 10% difference, which of course is in line with the 10% training effectiveness with the Ancestors card, and the SP bonus is the same. Once you factor in the friendship, however, the difference widens. Now instead of it being 3 speed difference, it becomes 5 speed difference, and the power difference becomes to 3. And then there is a difference in skill points. I'm just going to give you this as a point. This is like disrespecting Throne, because odds are you will have like Summon Marazensky and Kita-san Black sometimes on a lucky training, and then you have Ancestors. Their value increases by a lot because this card has friendship training, so the friendship training value increases skyrocketingly by a lot once you essentially get that alongside other cards. About the specialty priority portion, as you can clearly see, this is like more so like a number over here. It's not really just about like a 4 to 8% in general. Like for the speed portion, yeah, it is, but for the power, it's more. And once you factor in the friendship bonus, it's actually relatively bigger than just the training effectiveness alone. But here's the thing, okay? What really got me is the fact that he just put one singular stat, that being speed. I do not think it is a good value to put training effectiveness into one facility training, because here is the thing. This is going to be a deck for Champions Meeting 24, Hanshin 3200 meters. We are going to probably run 2 speed, a wit card, 2 stamina cards, and the Ancestors card. 3 out of the 5 training facilities are viable for training. Plus the fact that this card is a group card means that it is able to friendship train with. So essentially what it is this card is essentially an extra speed, wit, or stamina card, as long as they have their pure passion up. Which of course means that the training effectiveness value suddenly goes from 1 out of 5 training facilities to essentially just 3 out of 5. So that is triple the value. When you are evaluating training effectiveness, please look at it from your deck perspective, because if you have 3 cards or like 3 card types where they are actually very good in, I don't think the training effectiveness value should just be on one training facility. It should be counted on all 3, because you are going to probably click on all 3 of them. Let's go over the card portion very quickly. It's essentially very questionable from my point of view, because if you have checked the Grandmasters, it has 1 medium Champions Meeting. That is even before the Ancestors card comes out. So essentially, it's a 1 long Champions Meeting, 1 mild Champions Meeting, and a mild Dirt Champions Meeting for Ancestors. And essentially 1 medium League of Heroes and 1 sprint League of Heroes. That is how Grandmasters work. And just remove this 1 medium CM, because this is before Ancestors comes out. For some reason they made a Champions Meeting before Ancestors came out. Maybe it comes out randomly in between CM for what is it called? Randomly it could come out for CM23, but as the point stands right now, that is not something that we just can confirm on right now. Let's talk about this card, because the debate was about these 5 cards over here. Okay, we will start off with Major McQueen. The reason why they talked about this Major McQueen card is that this card is very good for long distance tracks. It gives you essentially 3 stamina bonus, very good, and 2 guts bonus, very effective. And then the gold skill is something called Lightfoot has a higher. This gives you stamina at a random point in the big game if you are on a long distance track. Very free, very good card. I acknowledge that this is a very good card. However, if we go back, there is only one champions meeting where it's a long distance track. And if you are somebody that is not a spender, going back to the slide, essentially, if you have McQueen stamina, you can just drop a stamina card completely. But that is like for the very high spenders. Anyways, if we go about it over here, you can just pick Baiwa Hayahira. She has VIP Pass, which is the gold version of Passing Bro. That is already a gold recovery skill, which of course is excellent. You have Super Quick, Sungi Maestro. That is of course very good. And unironically, if you are completely broke and do not have Super Quick, you can just run Measure McQueen Stamina and Baiwa Hayahira Stamina. This is going to be a cooldown, which is a mid-game recovery skill for like as you are entering straight. So you're getting the full value off of this, you're getting the full value off of this. And with these two cards, you will probably hit the stamina threshold with some stamina sparks. If you have Super Quick, that is better. You don't need to pull on like ancestors just so that you are able to use a card that is going to be something like Measure McQueen Stamina. So that is this card away. Mihono Bourbon, yeah, she's very good, and unfortunately I do agree with this part. But again, you will have to pull on Valentine, Agnes Fujin, and Kita-san Black the New Year's so that you are able to essentially use it for League of Heroes. That is something that I don't agree with at all, because that is so expensive for anybody that is not front runners. So yeah, that is Mihono Bourbon 2. Let's just close these two pages. Jungle Pocket Speed. If you, like, I'm gonna keep it short. If you are a backliner player and do not pull on this card, you definitely screwed up your cards. This is your best card for a very long time. If we go back to the support cards, I know the quality might not be as high compared to other videos, but let's just go over here. If we scroll all the way down until Jungle Pocket Speed. So here's Jungle Pocket, okay? Essentially, what we are going to do right now is just going to check how long Jungle Pocket Speed is relevant for backliners. This card has an insane, like an insane level of relevancy for backliners, that being late searchers and enclosers. This is a pre-My Stick and El Condor Pasa speed. By the way, this is before Project Lark. If we keep scrolling, we are still scrolling. We are still scrolling. All the way until still on live speed. This is Grand Food Festival over here. Nishino Flower and Yoi Akikawa. If we scroll down over here, this is the like UAF scenario. So an entire scenario, and this is a pre-My Sticky and El Condor Pasa. So this is essentially close to 2 scenarios worth of relevancy for a card. Are we really going to be pulling on ancestors so that we can borrow Jungle Pocket Speed? The answer is completely no. As for the last card that was saying about borrow the Gold City Guts, the reason is simply because of a mile. Again, there is only 2 mile champions meeting post Throne coming out, and that is because of the unique skill being high voltage. High voltage is essentially a skill that is going to proc in the first half of the late race. That is going to be on a mile distance track, provided that you are 5th or above. For 1.8 seconds, you get 0.4 acceleration. Essentially, this is a front runner and a pace chaser skill for mile. But for mile, most front runners have access to angling and scheming, and they also have access to other skills like second wind and final push. And then you still want to know that a beating heart is a skill that you can just inherit. So are we really going to be using a card that is going to give you just that extra amount of acceleration? Sure, it will give you more win rate, but I'm looking at it from a perspective that is going to reach me to Group A finals. Do I really need to use this card? No, you don't. If you are a spender, you can. You just pull. It's very simple. The only card that I cannot debate is simply this card. This card is very good for parenting, but again, you don't need to use ancestors for parenting in general, because after 4 months, once we are out of Grandmasters, you will probably have parents that have these goddess skills. If you do not know what I'm talking about, let's just open up the Grandmasters page over here. If we scroll all the way down over here, this is essentially going to be the skills that I'm talking about. The blessing skills, these skills are very effective, but again, I do not recommend a lot of people to just, oh, I'm going to go to Grandmasters to auto. You don't need to do that day one until the scenario ends. There will be people that will farm all 3 of these skills alongside like dodging danger, prudent positioning, groundwork, ignited speed width, mad dash, firm resolve, whatever the buzzword like is going to be post Grandmasters to Project Lock. So essentially, again, you don't need to borrow ancestors for this card. You can just drop ancestors, or just do not grind in Grandmasters. Go back to Grand Life, use Light Hello, and just borrow this card. This is something that you can do. The reason why this card is very good though is because it has Corner Adapt, Straightaway Adapt, Stand, Slipstream, Homestretch Haste, and Slick Surge. The very good thing about it is that on the first chain event you are guaranteed to get held high. This is a very powerful skill, and of course that is very good. And occasionally, if your cards finish their chains, you can get Perfect Spot, which is the gold version of Slipstream. So this card is very good actually. And yeah, this is like pretty much a very good card. But again, you don't need to use Grandmaster's card and grinding Grandmaster scenario for auto for this card. This is just my opinion, however. I know this is somewhat of a rambly video, but I will try to cut off parts where I'm a bit too yappy. And yeah, the final part, which is do not pull on luxury cards, because like Chaos Miracle, etc, etc. It's like, this part is something, like, okay, let's just go back again. I'm very sorry, but again, are we really thinking that, like he said, the difference between One Limit Break, Chaos Miracle, to like the other cards that he mentioned is not that big. Why are we exactly going to borrow a Max Limit Break version of Chaos Miracle over borrowing a Max Limit Break version of Ancestors? That is the question. If you pull on One Limit Break Chaos Miracle, it's better for you as a pace player because you are able to use it for mile distance tracks and sprint distance tracks. So that is essentially going to be the League of Heroes, and also going to be your 2-mile champions meetings. That is essentially 2 out of the 3 champions meeting for Grandmasters already done. The only one that being not useful for you is going to be the long distance track one. So again, that is it. Hopefully this video does not sound rude of me. This is just me giving up numbers and coming up with my own conclusion. Essentially, you are free to have your own opinions, but I had to talk about why I think it's better that you should just borrow Ancestors and not just go over the fact that, oh, simply because it's training effectiveness, that doesn't mean, oh, just one limit break is enough. Sometimes a scenario, like if we go back over here, these effects are much bigger than what you think. Go watch a Grandmaster video, you will realize that this like a tree and the turn 1 goddess bursts, they give you a lot of bonuses, and you will want your cards to be at their full potential for the most part, just to get the most out of them. And yeah, that is it. If you found this video to be helpful or entertaining to watch, I guess that is going to be it. I hope to see you in the next one, and don't forget to join the community server, link it in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next one.